Busy weekend for the Red Sox. Some of it positive, others not so much, unfortunately. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbett, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Today, we're breaking down the latest news surrounding the Boston Red Sox, which has a lot to do with injury. This is a big part of spring training. We're probably going to have a lot of videos on this channel breaking down injury reports from the Boston Red Sox as guys start to ramp themselves up for opening day. But before we do that, I did want to start with some really positive news for Boston, and that is both of the Red Sox probably biggest names acquired this offseason. Crochet and Alex Bregman made their first appearance in a Red Sox uniform this spring, and I gotta tell you, I don't think it could have gone any better. Looking at the Crochet side of things, it was just 2 innings pitched. That's normally how things go during spring training, but in those 2 innings, well, really 1 1/3 innings, he struck out 4 of the 8 batters he faced, including 3 in the first inning with a walk mixed in. So essentially, he struck out the side, kind of, right? I'm going to count it as striking out the side. He was sitting 96 to 98 on his fastball. Feels like with Crochet, it is going to be an extremely fun year. Doesn't it? It feels like he's going to have a ton of fun in this Red Sox rotation. Alex Bregman also made a very good first impression. He's currently batting 1,000 this spring, 3 for 3 at the plate yesterday with a home run, a double that was nearly a home run, and a single as well. He is going to absolutely wear out the Green Monster this season. Big reason why a lot of people, including myself, wanted him at Fenway Park. Now, here's what I'll say. These numbers, they mean absolutely nothing, right? Alex Bregman could hypothetically not get a single hit during spring training and still have an all-star campaign during the regular season. He could have the greatest spring training we've ever seen and hit 1,000 the entire spring and then fall off during the regular season, and it's still a massive problem. But I will say, it feels kind of important that these guys made a really good first impression, doesn't it? I don't know. It's not really a numbers thing. It's more of a vibes thing to really sort of get this team rolling and ready to go. Your 2 big additions go out there and they look like the 2 big additions straight off the bat. Yeah, that's got to get these players, it gets the fan base feeling really good about who this team could be. So I really love the fact that they came out there and had a really good first impression. I think it was kind of important despite the fact that the numbers mean absolutely nothing. So really good stuff from both Crochet and Bregman this weekend for the Boston Red Sox. Always happy to see that. Vibes are feeling pretty good, so we're going to bring them crashing on down here. Hopefully not too bad, but we do have some injury news to talk about, starting with some smaller ones here. Jarren Duran and Connor Wong were both scratched from yesterday's game. For Jarren Duran, it was a sore left calf. Nothing Alex Cora seemed concerned with. Seems like they're just going to give him a couple of days off and then get him right back into the swing of things, probably putting him into games at some point this week. A very, very typical spring training injury, right? You're getting back into playing regular baseball every single day outside of your strength training and whatnot over the off season. So you're going to see these type of things popped up. Connor Wong has a sore shoulder. Alex Cora even said to the point he's unconcerned that he'll probably get into games starting today as you're watching this video. So again, nothing crazy to, oh my God, freak out about. We don't have a catcher type situation. It was just something Cora said, quote, "It's nothing serious. We've just got to play it smart with him. He should be all right." I don't think either of these guys are really in jeopardy of ending up on the IL or anything like that. Duran's I am going to keep kind of an eye on, right? Last year we had some issues with some hamstrings and leg stuff with Vaughn Grissom and Connor Wong that kept him out from opening day a little bit. So I'm not entirely positive that Duran's isn't going to be anything more, but as of right now, it's nothing. So we're going to treat it as nothing until it's something because, again, in spring training, injuries like this pop up all the time. We do have some good injury news, though, before we get to the really not so good injury news, and there are actually a few things that I wanted to put into the good injury news category in this video. The first one, Zach Penrod got his results back from his MRI, and he doesn't need surgery. That is absolutely fantastic if you consider what sort of the overall feel was coming into his MRI, right? Andrew Parker reporting that coaches were saying, yeah, it's not looking too great type stuff. The fact that he doesn't need surgery is absolutely fantastic. It does open the door just a little bit to him being able to get back onto this regular team at some point this season. It doesn't truly rule out the idea of Zach Penrod being an impact player on the Red Sox in 2025. It still means he's going to be out for a while, though. Alex Cora saying exactly that. he's still going to be out for a while. It's still going to be a long road in recovery for Zach Penrod. But again, the fact that you don't need surgery on this elbow is kind of best of a worst case scenario, right? The sort of middle ground here was the internal brace surgery. The worst case scenario would have been Tommy John. So the fact that he didn't need anything, he didn't need to go under the needle at all, is a really, really good thing. I'm not exactly upset by this news at all. I think Zach Penrod coming back could be absolutely fantastic. Again, we don't really know if he's going to make it back this season or not, but we do know that that door is slightly open. The second positive Red Sox injury news update is that today, Lucas Giolito is going to throw his first live BP. This is great. This is exactly what he needs to be doing right now in order to ramp himself up for the rest of spring training, because after live BP, essentially, you're going to take it from there a little bit, and then it's in-game action. Then we start to see him in spring training games, and that's the road to being ready for opening day. So the fact that he is good to go, especially with the injuries that we're going to talk about to end this video, is absolutely fantastic. They're really going to need his help in this rotation come opening day. So for him to be able to ramp up the way he is right now, really, really good sign. Third thing I wanted to mention, Rafael Devers, who has been slowly ramping up a little bit slower than normal, mostly because they wanted to give those shoulders that he's had issues with this last season as much time as humanly possible before they start putting more pressure on them. He hit off of the fancy hitting machine. I forget the name of it, but it essentially simulates a live pitcher this weekend. He also started doing legitimate infield drills, throwing across the diamond and that kind of stuff. So again, kind of like Lucas Giolito, once you get to this point as a hitter, the next step would be a live BP, and then it'd be in-game action. Kind of feels like, or sounds like, Rafael Devers is going to get some in-game action this week, and that's fantastic. As much as you guys want to crap on Rafael Devers, you need this bat in this lineup, regardless of where he plays. He is the heart and soul of this team offensively, so getting him healthy is an extremely important part to the Red Sox success this season. Absolutely fantastic to see that he is getting closer to being 100% as well. Okay, now we got the good ones out of the way. Let's get into the not so great news. The not so good news is it continues to appear as though Kutter Crawford is pretty banged up. Alex Cora this weekend did give us a little bit more insight as to what's actually going on with that knee. According to him, quote, he was doing well until December. I think it was in the weight room he felt something. All the progress we made for 2 months went down the drain and we had to start all over again. It's really starting to look like Kutter Crawford being with this team come opening day is a real long shot. Alex Cora then went on to say, with Kutter, that's the one it looks like is going to be long. Opening day right now is an if. Yeah, I don't love that, right? It kind of sounds like they're teeing him up to start the year at least on the 15-day IL. It really sounds like that knee is just simply not getting better. I did see somewhere that surgery wasn't off the table, but we're not going to totally dive into that yet because I can't find any truly credible sources to back that up in terms of quote from Cora or reporting from any of the beat writers. So we're not going to put any real substance to that. I did just see that floated out there. Yeah, not great, right? It really doesn't sound like he's going to start the year with the team, which really sucks, right? Because the Red Sox this offseason did one thing incredibly well. Well, they did a lot of things really well, but they did one thing incredibly well, which was build up that depth in that rotation. To lose any of it does deter some of that depth a little bit. It also is going to be putting Quinn Priester, who had a start on Saturday, and Richard Fitz, who came in relief yesterday, into a really big spotlight this spring. One of those two guys is more than likely going to end up with this big league team out of camp. So definitely two players to absolutely pay attention to. We should get a little bit more information on Kutter Crawford this week, sort of a finalized, yeah, he's probably not going to be on the opening day roster, in my opinion, type announcement at some point this week. Again, really sucks to see Kutter go down like that. The other sort of big one here for the Red Sox is Brayan Bello. Now, this one, I guess, is a little bit more positive. I'm not entirely sure where to really kind of sit with this one just yet. He did throw from 90 feet on Sunday, which is a positive sign that he's going to be able to get back on the mound at some point. The other thing he did yesterday is he underwent a strength test, and this week, according to Alex Cora, is really sort of the determining factor. If that strength test went well and he starts ramping up into regular bullpen activities, right? Whether that be live bullpen sessions or batting practice sessions, whether that be starting to get some work in on the backfield, just simply being on the mound is going to be the determining factor as to whether or not he ends up on the opening day roster or not. And again, you go back to what happened to all this depth the Red Sox had in their rotation before spring training started. It kind of sounds like the idea of a six-man rotation, at least at this point, is pretty off the table. If Brayan Bello and Kutter Crawford start the year on the IL, they're just simply going to have to go with a five-man. If Bello ends up doing well this week and it ends up going okay this week, even if it doesn't go perfectly, or at least he gets on the mound, that six-man rotation is still in play. The good news here with Bello is that it doesn't sound as serious as Kutter Crawford, so even if he does start the year on the, let's say, 10-day IL, it doesn't sound like he's going to miss a ton of time. It sort of sounds like worst case scenario here. Bello's out for the first, week or 2 weeks of the regular season, and then he rejoins the team. I keep saying, and I said it in my prediction video, I really think Bello could end up being the glue of this rotation. I really think that at some point this year, he's going to end up being that sort of glue in the middle of this rotation that keeps this team together. So having him healthy, in my opinion, is going to be extremely important to this Red Sox team's success. So not exactly a terrible update. It's just sort of he's not really getting crazy better, which is what you'd want to hear from a guy like Bello, right? He came into camp with this shoulder soreness. You're hoping to see some progression a little bit. 90 feet is certainly some progression, but it's not really where you want it to be. You would hope that it's in the realm of that Rafael Devers type conversation where Rafi comes in, they let him ease into things a little bit, and now he's ramping up and going to be ready to go for opening day. Doesn't sound like Bello's exactly in the same boat yet, but there's still hope to it, right? This isn't totally negative. There's still hope that this week things start to turn around for Brayan Bello. We're going to be keeping a very close eye on that right here on Red Seat Radio. But again, the big things to pay attention to as of right now in camp are going to be Quinn Priester and Richard Fitts, because it sounds like at this point, there's a really good shot that at least one of them ends up on the regular opening day roster for the Red Sox. If I were to put my money on anyone right now, I think it's Quinn Priester, but we'll see kind of what goes on. Big spotlight on those two as we go forward because of these two injuries. So a lot of things to pay attention to so far for the Red Sox. It kind of sounds like I'm Debbie Downer here, right? Crochet and Bregman did really well, but Kutter and Bello are injured. Right? It kind of sounds like that a little bit. I'm just giving you guys the news updates. There's certainly still a whole lot of things to be positive about with this Red Sox team. They shouldn't bring you down on who the Red Sox could be. You still have, even without these two for a little bit of period of time here, a really solid rotation. You still got some really fantastic bats in this order. You still got Marcelo, Roman, and Christian Campbell making pretty good contact in their spring training games. So still a lot to be positive about, still a lot to watch this spring. Just want to keep you guys as updated as possible on where some of these bigger names are in terms of their injury reports. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are you guys thinking about all this? What do you think about the debuts? What do you think about the injury updates? Is there anything that sticks out to you in particular that you're like, boy, I'm paying attention to this more than anything else? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, the best way to do that is to head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.